Hare Krishna. My name is Jvalamukhi Dasi. This is video number 31 in the J-File series of my book, My Hoo-Hoo and the Destiny of the Universe, the Golden Age, the Great Sinister Movement, and the Firewalk of a Hare Krishna Kid. It is interestingly affirmative that the often bizarre scenes that replay themselves in my mind's eye explain the sickness behind the past days of dysfunctional ISKCON interactions and events. Just going to zoom in here because I can't read very well. There you go. Why wouldn't a leader like Beast or Rapasaltananda, full of their own immense arrogance, enticed and covered by the energetic personifications of power, lust, and denial, etc., why would they ever think twice about using anyone or everyone for their own profit and distinction? This explains why I am so allergic to the old school style of power play and manipulation management. A temple president I served under for some time many years ago really got under my skin, and now I understand why. He was one more example of someone whose false ego was the standard of measurement instead of Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya's precepts and mood. As an aside, a girl several years my junior, who also grew up in Detroit Temple, was posting some positive pictures of Rapasaltananda on social media. I commented something to the effect that this person is a demon rapist. This is not what she wanted to hear. She said, "Well, I don't believe that." And I replied, "It's nice that you have that prerogative to believe or not to believe. I don't have that option." November 16th, 2011. Astonishing. Words fail to describe what happened today on the session table. Since a day is preceded by other days and they comprise a week, my last week has been one of not knowing what to do with my tremulous heart full of grief and pain and the subsequent mental questions on what to do with all the events that have come to light. Also, in conversations with devotees, it seems more and more of the puzzle is being revealed. A second-generation friend of mine, whom I will call Rita, she and I had discussed our experiences with Conniving Witch, who was her former teacher. Rita had attended her girls' boarding school as a teenager. Later, I spoke to my friend about our conversation. My friend Harinam was reflecting on Upwardly Mobile, another name I've given one of the demons, and Conniving Witch, and the dark energies that orchestrate unspeakable acts. We stood outside in front of her house on the dirt road. As we spoke, those energies made the hair on our bodies stand erect in awareness of their presence. Feeling protected and rightly situated, I defiantly started strutting down the street as we talked and taunted them that I was the powerful one because I was embodied and their time had come. They were going down. Really, they are going up also, because everyone wins with Sri Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And what I mean by that is when we clear the dark energies that are in us or that are around us or that run other people, and by our non-duality they can't affect us, those energies or those dark entities also get to level up. So that's what I am referring to here. Harinam created a fun, silly dragon handshake for our sisterhood. I love the friends Krishna has sent me. Who else could possibly understand? We often joke that she said that there used to be an old show that said if you miss a day, you miss a lot. And so we're always filling each other in on our spiritual warfare in our respective trenches, our homes, and we live on a dirt road, off a dirt road, and it seems like nothing ever happens here externally, but if you miss a day, you miss a lot. So today, I was with the kids and feeling confused and disheartened. Like, why should I keep coming for these sessions? Sure, I see more rape and murder and more incriminating faces, But what am I supposed to do with all of that? I am so small and clueless. I cried all the way home in the car. My nephew and son didn't notice in the back seat. They were busy talking. Fortunately, the only place I know where to go for shelter from such disorienting emotions in my heart, and to be there is to be in desperate prayer. Supersoul said, Supersoul Uvacha in my heart, stop feeling sorry for yourself. You are all right. You have some service to do. Just write and sing, and there is no need for you to know the big picture/plan because that is for me to know. Phewie, I said. So glad I am a small, insignificant Jiva soul and not in charge of anything. Still, on the way to the session, I was feeling great depression. My teacher and I talked for a while about the new baby nephew coming to my family and her new home buying negotiating. She is not able to sleep the night before our Wednesday sessions and had only gotten 4 hours of sleep and was dysfunctional the whole day. I offered to do some work on her neck instead of my session because I really didn't want to know whatever had been making the sinking feeling in my stomach all week. She smiled and said, "That is nice of you. Now get on the table and let's get to work." She began, as usual, holding the tachyon crystals and passing them down the length of my body in silence. Almost all of our sessions are in silence. I closed my eyes and went into my heart center with breath and prayer. Nothing was coming out for at least the first 10 minutes. I said in a half-hearted joking manner, "See? All clear." She smiled slightly, something like the Mona Lisa in her ultra alert, patient way, and said nothing. The inner vision opened suddenly. I was in the Prasadam room in Los Angeles again with my two parents. I was trying not to look up and cowering somewhere on the side of the room. A bowl had just been thrown to the ground with a loud crash, spilling its contents. Rapasaltananda, beast, or someone related to them in a position of power, was chastising my parents. He shouted, "You have to sacrifice everything in Krishna's service. If you don't want to, quote, serve Krishna, then why are you here at the temple? Just get out." There was some distorted analogy used to justify my parents handing me, their daughter, over for use in, quote, Krishna's service. It had to do with Draupadi, their analogy. More chastisement, bullying, etc. "You are in Maya," etc. Next, I saw myself in my father's friend's, whom I will call Shame, in her yoga studio parlor. It was decorated nicely with warm colors and beads and cloth. There were some small rooms, almost like changing rooms. I was in one of them. She and her friend were telling me and the other girl, I didn't see who, that we needed to, quote, do our service to Krishna, and that even if we didn't like it, it was still our service, and good. There would be some men coming in to touch us, and if we resisted, then they, the two women, themselves would touch us, but would do it in a very painful way and make sure that it hurt. The only reason they were doing this was because we were little whores and we liked it. They threatened to tell others and our parents what we were doing with these men and that we were dirty little whores. This child prostitution was organized by Beast, Rapasaltananda, Killer, and Ham. It was the brainchild of Ham and Rapasalt, because Beast just doesn't have that much brain. At one point on the session table, I was struggling with a feeling of being impaled through the abdomen while experiencing sexual stimulation. Then the most horrific part came. I heaved and screamed for quite literally 15 minutes solid. There was a young 9-year-old boy, Madhava. I'm not sure if that was his name, but that's what it felt like. He was someone that we children all really liked and looked up to. He was, quote, mailed in from either Mayapur or France. He was supposed to be, quote, mailed back, but now he knew too much and had proven himself unprogrammable. He was so sure and strong in himself, gloriously defiant, a true devotee and spiritual warrior at the age of 9 years old. I saw him in the yoga parlor being beaten by 2 men in black business suits. He was fighting for all he was worth, small boy that he was. His will was as strong as iron. He was going to go to the authorities. He told them he was going to protect us children. At this point, I felt the rush of horror wash like sick ether through me. I kept repeating, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." They cut off his head and wanted me to drink his blood. Insert here the 15 to 20 minute of full breakdown on the session table. I discovered later that he had been killed in an official satanic ritual, shindig, with the help of the Los Angeles temple neighbors next door, the Masons, the good old Masons. Only later did they use his decapitated head for their purposes, or maybe it was just a prop they used to scare us. They wanted to make the most of their human sacrifice so they could maximize on their silencing programming through extreme disassociation and terror. They took his head and kept it in a closet. They would make us kids go sit there in the dark if we had been, quote, bad, i.e., didn't do what we were told. I didn't mind. I wasn't afraid of him. I would have much rather sat in that closet with his decapitated head than be with those sickos. I was afraid of them, not him or any corpse. They were the scary ones. I really loved him. I am still very much in grief right now. We were going to run away together and save all our friends. I guess that's why they made me go and watch, so I wouldn't tell the others so that I would tell the others what would happen to them if they dared to tell. At one point, they told me that I was too smart for my own good and that I was a troublemaker and that something really bad was going to happen to me too if I didn't shut up and keep my mouth closed. Ha! Watch this. Front and center page, here I come. 40 years too late, but it takes a while. Then I understood that vicious and harsh were not just part of the local sicko weird group. They and the others were part of a much greater organized operative based out of Mayapur, India. The Great Sinister Movement plants its members everywhere. Beast, he was there. As soon as I understood this, whoa, watch out. There came the entity Rodeo Brigade. There were at least 3 very, very strong, powerful entities that were released in this session, although it is hard to recall in which order. The order is significant in that it confirms that the door to a memory or awareness is being approached and what the programming or dysfunction is around the event. These spirits were all very, very powerful. The heaviest one was a curse energy that had been sent. We convinced it to leave and return to sender, taking with it the blessings of Lord Nrsingadev for their highest benefit. We prayed, may those demons come to their senses, whatever it takes. I was holding on to the sides of the table and really, really, really trying to take the use of my body back from the snarling, raging demons woven all throughout my energy body since Madhava's murder. I told Mahaprabhu, I should be restrained so that I don't lunge at you. I was being very serious because when you... possession is a real thing. And when you go through satanic ritual abuse, they summon very, very dark entities into your body. And they're dormant and they control you. But when they start coming out and coming to the surface, it's all you can do to not act out and not let them act out through your body. So I was genuinely afraid for her physical safety as we were exorcising those demons out of my body. She is fearless and answered me by giving me a look of quiet but unmovable determination. I just gripped at the sides of the table so hard that my hands had to stay there. Flinging myself in my mind's eye in front of Ugra Nrsimha and Mayapur, I took shelter of his lotus feet and begged for this entity to be released. Then I realized he was not releasing it because I needed to let go, not the other way around. I opened my heart completely with as much humility and surrender that I could muster. I relaxed into the terror held in my cells from so long ago. This is where the beasts lived, the programming, the practical witchcraft, silencing of the children. I begged the Lord, my dear Lord, you are the expert. Please surgically remove whatever nasty lust or contamination in my heart that is allowing this entity to still live in my body. I beg to be completely transparent as your instrument. If there are any attachments, I am prepared to surrender them all. I am helpless and willing to let go of everything, however painful it may be. There is no pain like false attachment to this place and our roles here. I want to live always in my liberated state, knowing who I am and experiencing my relationship with you. This peace and perfection is safety. Kamra Prabhu chanted the Nrsimha prayers for some time, and finally the entity released and my body could relax. When profound revelations in regard to my relationship and service to Krishna are gifted, the words come out of my knowing heart in rhyme form. I had been composing one of my affirmations on the way over, and now it came out with more. The words I heard, the vision I saw, was a hand in a glove. The Lord is the hand. I am a glove made to move. Glove on my hand, used to reprimand or made to dance. I am his, he is mine, deep, deep, deep in this love divine. It was Lord Nrsingadev's voice speaking of me and Kamra as his. The next 20 minutes or so were utterly profound. In deep connection and prayer, I petitioned him, my dear Lord, please speak loudly to me, so I will not mistake your voice for others. The Lord of my life, of my heart, then spoke through my very own mouth, out loud. It is one thing to have the body thrown about by an entity. It is quite another to be so silent and surrendered, so still inside, that the Supreme Lord's voice boomed out of my heart and onto my lips. It is one thing to feel God in his presence as supersoul in the heart. It is quite another to experience his personal presence as Bhagavan Sri Narasimhadev. My body was filled with the immense tejas, the power of his presence. I felt so awed, insignificant, but deeply loved. I really, really needed to feel his love. I asked the Lord a question. Who was this brave boy, the beheaded one? Who were his parents? It is important to me because the grief of his death is so strong. It brings some relief to know that he is, quote, safe on the other side, like the way I saw the little boy at the campfire in Detroit. I clearly saw the murdered boy's subtle body and communicated with him. It gave relief to see him peaceful and in knowledge as the eternal self, just changing bodies. It took the teeth out of the lamentation and horror. So I asked the Lord in my heart, if it is important for my healing to know who he was, please reveal it to me, because I felt it to be important, very, very important. The answer I heard was that I am not to have full clarity on it yet. It is not mine to know now. I was too raw. However, what was clear, although cosmic, was that this boy was sent by the demigods to do some mission, but that it was not the right time. That brave soul's mission was to expose and uproot this evil in Lord Chaitanya's mission. Devavrata, Bhishma, and Shikandi all were all names that kept coming with no clarity of why they were coming. I just let them pass through not trying to hold on to any of them. This is when the Lord's words took over. Arise, in a booming voice, I heard within my heart. We are his instruments. I am paraphrasing words that came out very regal sounding and full of command. My sorrowful memory does it no justice. The meaning was, the rope has reached its full extension, the Lord said. Their offenses have reached their limit. I am the knower of everything, and nothing happens without my sanction. In the mood of Sri Nishinga Caitanya, the Lord wanted this evil element out of his holy land, his Dhamma, and our ISKCON society. What I found beautiful and amazing was the revelation that Lord Narahari allowed the great demon Hiranyakashipu to become the undisputed dictator of the entire universe and do so many horrible things for quite some time. Then he sported with him in a fight before killing him. It was all done perfectly for everyone's self-realization and for the Lord's enjoyment. Everything is perfectly synchronized. Everyone's lessons, karma, desires, justice, everything, all in perfect cosmic timing for the rectification of the living entities and for the Lord's enjoyment. His pastimes of loving exchanges, reciprocating the mood of each and every soul as they approach him. After all, is that not the purpose of our existence as his parts and parcels? To engage in eternal blissful relationship? For the demons and conditioned souls, they seek bliss in matter, having rejected him with the only power that they have, their free will, which the Lord kindly awards them. Love is causeless, and so is envy. The ugly contamination and all the little demons in our movement were no different. For the pleasure of Sri Caitanya, who takes sporting pleasure in delivering the most wretched and evil, with similarly fallen but endeavoring souls, this situation played out. The demons got to think that they were supreme, and the devotees have to run to him for shelter. All the rest get more karmic fuel to run to him one day. Now was the time. Because of our prayers to serve the Lord in this way, for his pleasure, we were to be engaged as his instruments, like the glove on his hand. Everyone would be made to dance by the Lord's mercy. We were to give up all false ego of thinking ourselves too small, less than, confused, not clear enough, not ready, not pure enough, not connected enough, etc. And we were to roar, roar, roar. This instruction came out in poetry, which I forgot. How did I forget that? And ended in me literally using my entire vocal and lung power to roar. Lord Nrsingadev was instructing us in no ambiguous terms to roar. Here I roared at least 5 times. And the human throat is so ill-equipped. Sigh. He spoke directly to Kamra Prabhu through my mouth, asking her, do you understand me? Do you hear me? This task I give is for you to do. Arise. An audience will be given. Arise and roar. I was shaking from the sheer energy coursing through me like constant lightning bolts, electrifying my whole body. I told Kamra, I need to go offer obeisances right away. I quickly jumped off the session table and fell flat on the floor like a stick and paid full dandavat obeisances in front of her deities. Offering prayers in my mind, I heard a few of his 108 names running through my head. I have to learn them all. Write, I will supply the words. Sing, I will supply the tunes, the Lord spoke. As I paid obeisances, these words resounded loudly in my ears. He told Kamra to play her drum, and he would supply the rhythm. These directions were of utmost importance and urgency. They were not recreational activities to be, quote, gotten around to. They were to be used in his service. I will make it happen. Do not fear or overthink anything, the Lord instructed. Kamra stepped outside as I offered my obeisances. I heard her softly crying. She hears Lord Krishna in the heart very softly. She does not need him to roar like I do. Later, she told me she was feeling great compassion for what my walk is and couldn't help the tears. After I sat up from obeisance, still in the trance of the Lord's presence, I went into a yoga posture that Lord Narasimha sits in, arms extended, hands palms up in a mudra on his knees, tongue extended, and brows drawn in anger. I heard her make a few sobs while outside. It was all so intense. To this, his booming voice came out of my mouth, forcefully shouting, I am your master. Do not doubt yourself. Do not make this small. Arise! Arise! She came and kneeled in front of me while I sat in this posture in front of her altar. With a grand gesture of the clasped fist, my hands extended, and handed her a virtual sword. She took it. Then to me, he said, I was the one who gave you your name, Jvalamukhi Dasi, not anyone else. She is your master. You do not need anyone else to confirm or consult. She is qualified to guide you. Surrender to her. I immediately offered her my obeisances and sat with Vaishnava and said the Vaishnava pranam, immediately accepting her as my guru, my spiritual master, as Lord Nrsingadev had instructed me. In her humility, she did the same back and said with folded hands, I am your servant. I said, you are both my servant and my master, and tears of love slid down both of our cheeks. There was still so much trembling and shaking in my body, I could not do anything else, and my legs gave out, and I slumped, curled up on my side for a moment to collect myself. The Lord is not easily appeased, and once he is speaking to you, it is not for you to say, enough, my Lord. I didn't think my knees would hold me at this point, but suddenly my body rose up, and my arm held high in triumph. And the next second, I was pushed down on one knee, bowing, and I understood. I am a rag doll. I shall perform and offer him all credit and obeisances. Though physically challenged at this point, I heard at least 3 times, now go, now go, now go. This I understood as, go do your writing immediately, go sing. I am going to stretch a large canvas and paint a picture of Ugra Nrsimha, offer worship to him, and have a curtain over it most of the time. It will be powerful and very fierce. I envisioned this many times. Kamra and I spoke for a few minutes after this profound experience. She told me of how she installed her Nrsimha Kavacha, the powerful prayers to the Lord in his form of half man, half lion, for protection. It is worn on the body in an amulet on the arm. She worshipped this amulet before putting it on. Although she was not able to express in words, her eyes told of the devotion and rapture she experienced that day as Lord Nrsingadev reciprocated with her. I came flying home, all effulgent and ecstatic, still in a state of disbelief. He answered my prayers. He answered my prayers. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Nrsimha Bhagavan himself, spoke and revealed himself to me, to tiny little me. Earlier today, as I was crying, I took shelter of Krishna in my heart and I asked him, please, please, please peel back the layers. Otherwise, how can I see you? And if I cannot see you as you are, and myself the way I am, then what is the use of anything? I begged. My dear Srimati Radharani, please grant me this gift. You are the most compassionate, and by your mercy I have gained the Lord's direct association today. My heart is burning to do my service, my seva, right after I sleep for a few hundred years and take care of my family and house and do some business and anyway, nothing will stop me. Arise, arise. When I somehow arrived home, I was still in Lord Nrsingadev's Shakti space and shared the roaring instruction quite loudly with my husband. I saw tears fill his eyes. He had carefully awoken our deities and put a tulsi leaf on our Lord Nrsingadev's foot and said a prayer for me today. I embraced him and told him of my love and gratitude for his presence in my life. Where would I be without him? On the practical side, I prepared some food for him to take to the children for dinner. Now, the other extreme was coming up, the intense grief and horror of seeing my friend beheaded. I felt my body droop and wilt. When he got the kids out the door and finally drove away, I let go and wailed. I again asked the Lord as humbly as possible. I realize how impertinent I am when I ask him things. I have no business asking. He is a person who just happens to be in my heart, but a really, really big person who you don't just casually ask things of. But I am shameless in that way. And I asked him, please allow me some information on the boy to decrease my grief. The answer he gave me was, grief is a symptom of love. Feel it. I did, and I fell down on the floor in obeisances and grieved and wailed out loud in my thankfully empty house, tears and mucus making a puddle on the floorboards. My sides ached from the heavy sighs and burning breath of that terrible, terrible grief. It cleansed me somehow and was a relief. Grieving for the murder of my friend, I had even forgotten existed, so deeply embedded the programming was. I could not afford to remember before. It would have killed me. They would have killed me. The most evident thing today was that we are protected by the Lord and need have no fear. Our task is very straightforward and clear. It is only to do it, and He will arrange everything else. The time factor has turned, and it is now. The demon's turn is up. Now it is our turn. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan Ki Jai. Victory, glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan movement. The constant doubting of all that I have seen and felt, the discrediting, sabotaging, skeptic side has no room any longer today. If the Supreme Personality of Godhead took these horrible, bizarre events seriously enough to answer my prayers for clarity and to be shown things as they were, as they are, with no inebriety or covering, then most certainly I shall take them in the same way. Roar! My husband just left to take care of the kids at their school's expo that my mother, the music teacher, prepared for all month long. God bless him. God bless her. I came home and told him about our session and that Kamra usually can't sleep the night before our sessions because she is attacked all night long by all of these subtle forces who don't want to be exposed and uprooted. He said, I have trouble sleeping too. Didn't you notice? He can't focus on work. Wow, what a wake-up call for me that was. I am so absorbed in my own heavy heart and my own misery. I didn't ask about his feelings. Not that he would have told me, being the private, self-controlled yogi that he is. Anyway, I am walking around the house alone, letting out hot, heavy sighs of sadness and passion to uproot this evil from its source. In a vision, Srila Prabhupada told Kamra, do what you can to save the institution. She is not alone in wondering if it is too far gone to do this. It is up to us, the second generation, to do something, I feel. Of course, this was written in 2011, and since then, the realization is the body of ISKCON, the organization, is too far gone. The disease is too intrinsic. It is when the body becomes too ill, the soul has to leave. And so I urge all sincere devotees to practice at home and to carry on the mission of Sri Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Srila Prabhupada, and invite people to your home temples. Don't invite them to the organization because it is thoroughly corrupted and is non-different from any other satanic cabal-run organized religion out there. And in this regard, I recommend that you read the article by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, which you can find by Googling organized religion by him. My heart burns with the desire to perform tapasya, austerity, for this purpose. Chant 32 rounds before Mangalartik. Be focused like a laser and to rally our immobilized, distracted troops of Lord Chaitanya's children. I am composing battle speeches in my head. But most likely, I will do manasa tapasya, austerity in the mind, be a mother of 3 boys, take a nap, and be realistic. All glories to the Lord of the universe. Hare Krishna. Thank you for watching.